Hello, Joanna, the healer.
Hello.
I am so grateful to be here with you. First of all,
It's my honor.
It's my honor as well. You have helped me. Okay. I started following you on YouTube, for about 1.5 years now. And literally you've helped me transform into the woman that I am becoming. So thank you.
You mean the inner goddess?
The inner goddess, letting go of the fear and just tapping more into who I am in my alignment, my spirit, in my body, being comfortable and speaking my truth, for others. And that's why I'm just so grateful to be on here with you. I want to ask you a couple of questions.
Of course.
How you got started, when you started awakening to all of this. And
oh, wow.
And you're so beautiful, by the way. I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Likewise. Thank you so much. I don't know where to start because this is well over 20 years. How did I start? Where should I start? They're saying, what happened when I was 21? I don't remember what happened when I was 21. They're talking about something maybe in 21. I have no memory of that, but I will tell you what happened when I was 29. I was in a very difficult marriage. I had a baby that was 9 months old. I was painfully insecure, and I was making a very hard decision to let go of my relationship. It was either that or I was going to end my life. But I was not going to do that to my child. So the only other alternative was to make a change.
Right.
And right around that time, I was in my bedroom, sober, because I've never taken drugs before. There was a being that appeared in my room. And this was not in my mind. This was a full-on 3D being in my room. And I sensed it was a he because I saw his profile. He was not looking me straight on. He was showing me his side. He was dressed as a monk. And I remember this as it was yesterday. He was wearing a monk-like brown thing that they wear, whatever it's called. He had a rope tied around his waist, and in his hand he was holding white book. For many, many, many years, I did not understand what the white book means. I do now, so we can talk about that in a moment. But when I saw him, first and foremost, some people would say, were you scared? And here's what I will say. In that moment, I experienced what I called bliss.
Bliss.
That if there is such thing as bliss, that was bliss. Not only that, this is the best explanation that I can come up with using human 3D words. Everything became stopped and became suspended. It's as if the whole world around me, including myself, was suspended. And I was in this suspended space, feeling nothing but effing bliss. I don't know how long it lasted, but it was an experience that was out of this world. And this was me seeing it with my 3D eyes. It wasn't a dream. I wasn't hallucinating. I wasn't on drugs. I wasn't meditating. I was sitting on my bed watching this being. Just that's all there was. And it was so profound that I know that it permanently, physically changed me in some molecular level. And that's when things started to change. My life started to shift. I became more interested in spiritual matters, even though I had that interest before, ever since I was very young. I mean, I remember at the time I was about 5 years old, I was fascinated with UFOs, just absolutely fascinated. when I was about 5 or 6 years old. I don't remember exactly the time frame, but about 5 or 6 years old. I remember very distinctly, this was still back in my old country. I was sad in that moment. I was a very sad kid for various reasons. And I remember saying out loud, God, why am I here? Now, didn't think of it much, but later as I was older, I began to think, I don't know if that's something that a kid asks themselves. So I had these little pockets of awareness, if you will, that as I looked back, made me go, there was something there.
Yeah.
There was another time where I was very, very young, around the same age, I would say before the age of 7. I was out with my mom and her friend, and we went to a forest, and we were picking up flowers. And these words came out of my mouth that didn't make much sense to me then, but as I look back, I go, wow, I was aware. And this is what I said: the greatest threat to nature is humanity.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait a second, a 5-year-old doesn't talk like that. Now, that was years later. So it's hard to say where it all started, because there were pockets of awarenesses that I have that I wasn't aware of before that I was having.
Yeah.
But the actual catapult forward towards this spiritual journey was about the time where the being appeared in my room.
That is.
And it's kind of just evolved from there.
Wow.
It started with me taking a clinical hypnotherapy course. I was always very interested with the mind, always very fascinated, although I didn't understand why traditional psychology never, so there was something with it that didn't quite click with me. And once I immersed myself in hypnotherapy, I understood why. And it's because my interest was to go way deeper. Yeah. And years later, I was shown that things like hypnotherapy would be the staple in psychology, but we're not quite there yet. It's becoming more and more recognized, but it's still, it's still fairly uncommon for the traditional therapy, right?
Right.
So when I was doing sessions with clients, I started to receive information where to take clients and how to move forward with a session. And when I listened to these directions, the results were out of this world. They were incredible. So I began to trust it.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, my friend said, why don't you go and do readings? And I said, what, are you crazy? I'm not a psychic. She says, yes, you are. So then I started reading cards, and it kind of allowed me to, can I say the word, not perfect, but to become more comfortable with actually consciously communicating with whoever it is that I was communicating. Fast forward to now, I shifted from being a psychic from being a hypnotherapist to being a medium, being a healer, and now I'm moving more into the whole idea of transformational coaching or self-mastery coach. So that is it basically in a nutshell. There's many other pieces in between, woven in between. And if they come up in my memory, I'm happy to share, but that's basically it in a nutshell.
That is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
And you said something that spoke to me. You said when you were very young, you felt a lot of sadness, which I myself, I felt a lot of sadness as well growing up. If you're okay with opening up a little bit about, your upbringing, because I know those who start going in, and it doesn't have to be, you have to, start off by being sad as a child or whatever. But I do remember as well, like the memories of me going in as a child, it was when, my family were all fighting. I remember running into my room and turning on my lamp, not even knowing who source was, God was, love was, just spirit. Didn't even know I was connected. And I remember my first memory was like running into my room, turning on my lamp and going down onto my knees and praying for like the fighting to stop. And for years I had to like go through therapy and I would pay money to like get that memory out of my mind because it was so traumatic. And then just recently, I want to say this year, I remembered that was my first memory of connecting to source. So
out of desperation.
yeah. So it's like I turned it into something beautiful after all these years of being, traumatized from that memory of just my whole family fighting and cops coming over and stuff. So that spoke to me as well when you said, I was sad as a child. So if you want to share a little bit about what you went through.
First and foremost, I'm very sorry to hear that. But at the same time, you would not be who you are today if it wasn't for those experiences. So I have great love for you and compassion, but at the same time, I also see your strength. And there's two sides to me, as there's two sides to everybody. There's the spirit side to me, and there's the human side to me. And oftentimes the human side wants to fight the spirit side because it wants to be right, and it wants, the ego is interesting, right? Nothing wrong with the ego. I love my ego. But the ego is very limited. And so thank you for sharing that. Without going into too much details of who, here's what I will say. It started off with being constantly reminded by those I held on a pedestal or authority that I was nothing, and that I would always remain nothing, and no one would ever want me. Those were the messages that were constantly being spoken in my direction. So naturally, you begin to embody that, you begin to believe, because, well, if an authority is saying that to you, it must be true, right? So that was the basis of my internal foundation.
Yeah.
Which, fast forward to now, is the reason why I do what I do. My greatest joy, passion is to help people realize that they are so much more than they think. And we spoke a moment before.
Yes, I was just going to bring that up right now.
Yes, before we put the camera on, and I shared with you that a channeled message came through, and I said, I'll hold off because I feel it's to be shared. And there's two parts to it. The first part is when you see yourself from a different perspective, everything changes. And that's because it changes how you see everything. So that's the first one. And the second one is being small is a safety mechanism. It contracts our beingness for the purpose of safety and belonging predominantly. Once inner safety is addressed, the beingness of small begins to crumble, and we begin to live big. So that is my passion, to help people see themselves not for who they think they are, but who they are beyond what they think, which is divine beings. Yeah. Without edges and borders. But at the same time, it's to also understand that what we think is extraordinarily powerful, because how we see ourselves is also how we see the world. So if we see ourselves in a limited ways, we will see the world in limited ways, because the universe can only give us on the same vibrational level as we see ourselves. Yeah. So to say it in a different way, my passion is to help others shift their vibration. And it had to start with me. I am the guinea pig, so to speak, for this. Yeah. Because I always say, if I am speaking of something I have no clue about, then I have no business in speaking about it. Yes. So
you said the word right out of my mouth. I was going to say it has everything to do with like your vibration, what you believe. And then through that, it's like how you carry yourself into this world. And then, like you said, vibration. So starting off with just humbling and centering yourself in love and going inward and really just releasing that love into the universe, your world, so that you could be that vibration and others will, reflect that for you. And once again, you really helped me to tap deeper into that. And I see that that's your passion, and it's only, inspiring me more to keep doing the work and not play small, because, for many years, I did, and it's okay. That's all okay. And, for anyone who is feeling this, don't play small, because the world, people in your life, your family, your friends, they need that. And, focus on, like the meditation and just grounding yourself into love and openness and transforming and growing. And through that, you have to become friends with your fear, because on the other end, all of that is the biggest breakthrough. So I want to inspire everyone to not play small and to keep believing in yourself. And that is why people like Joanna the healer is here, and I to support you. So I commend you and thank you for all of
Thank you.
what you do. You're welcome. And also, I'm learning a lot about ego. And I heard you say, you love your ego. And for me, I am also becoming friends with my ego. My ego is my amigo. And
I love that.
my ego is my
I'm going to write that down. I love that.
my coach Matt, said that, and that spoke to me.
Yes.
And it's like, so many people, don't like their ego, or let their ego even take control. And I think it's really just learning about your ego, that inner child, and really the ego is just having fear. Like, don't go date that person, they're going to break your heart again. Or it's like our ego is constant, or like, don't go live on Instagram or whatever, don't start a YouTube thing, don't record yourself, you're not good enough, you're not that worthy enough, you don't just. And that's kind of like our ego really just protecting us, And so passing that and overcoming that fear is a beautiful thing, because like I said, on the other end of that is the biggest breakthrough. And it's like your ego is, it's like a rebirth. And the more you become connected to that, so much transforms into really your higher consciousness, right?
There is a saying, and I'm sure somebody has said it, but it came through about last year, I think. To see the light, you must go through the darkness. You have to move through the darkness. You have to go past the darkness. And that is so true. Because the fear is, this is where the ego begins to scream, that's not true. Fear is an illusion. Now, it's a very strong illusion, yes, but it is an illusion. It is meant to keep us down. So it acts as a catalyst in many ways, because when you face your fear, you begin to see your greatness and just how big you are. And I mean, you, I, everyone, right? And I'm a very intellectual person, like we've talked before. So I still have days where my small me protests and says, oh, you've lost your mind. Oh, you're crazy. As a matter of fact, here's what I was going to say. With the awakenings that I've been having over the last few years, if I had not prepared myself with all the work that I've been doing, with training for hypnotherapy, doing my own work, and just being more inner work inclined, I've said this many times, I can see how people who are not who are not prepared and they begin to experience awakenings, they may think they're going mad.
Yeah.
I remember that was about 2 years ago when I began to be aware of, I'm going to use the word aliens, although I don't like the word anymore. It feels very derogatory, but other beings in my space talking to me. And I remember sitting in front of a mirror and saying, Yep, Joanna, you've lost it. This is what a crazy person looks like. And the being said, this was a female, the being said, "You're crazy is now your normal." I'm like, oh shit. But if I did not have some level of awareness, I am sure I would have thought that I was going mad and I was going mental.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the experiences that I've had, because they're asking me to share this, because it was extraordinarily profound, scary as F-U-C-K, but very profound. I hope you like my French, because I speak French a lot.
I love it.
This was an experience where I was in a deep meditative state, and all of a sudden, this wave came over me, and I lost awareness of who I was. The only awareness I had of remembering or having some sort of recollection was the ceiling I was looking at that looked familiar. Everything else, it's as if I forgot. It was absolutely terrifying. Wow. I guess that's what it means when you start to lose your mind. Anyway, I remember in that moment, I kept saying, "Who am I? Who am I? Who am I?" I was terrified. Yeah. And a voice clear as day said to me, "You're asking the wrong question. The question is, who do you choose to be?" And then when I heard that and it registered, it stopped and everything came back. And I thought, wow, it's not me asking who am I, it's me choosing who I want to be. Now, how many times do we ask people, what do you think of me? Or we ask the question, who am I? Who am I? Well, who do you want to be? It's a complete shift of perception, right? But that takes it takes training to be able to shift that. So to this day, I think of myself as small. As a matter of fact, I'll share this with you. As we do this work and we shed more and more of our wounded self, what ends up happening is the ego the broken, the unhealed ego begins to die, except it doesn't die, it begins to transform. Mm-hmm. And we begin to start to experience the bigness of who we really are. Mm-hmm. And that is, at least for me and for other people that I've spoken with, very scary. Very, very scary. Now, the intellectual person would say, "What are you talking about? That's great, isn't it?" Not if your entire identity is existing on the fact that you think of yourself as small, and all of a sudden you are experiencing bigness, which means your small self goes, it's terrifying. Yeah. So I had a moment like that today. Again, it was like, okay, here we go again. I am still fearful in some way of being big. Now, again, the 3D mind would say, why would you be so afraid of being big? And when I say big, I don't mean the ego big. I don't mean that. This is beyond the ego. I mean the humility, the humble, the essence big. Yeah. So I forgot where I was going with this. But anyway, yeah. So when we begin to open up to our bigness, it can feel at times very terrifying. Right. Because think about it, all my life, as an example, your life, you have thought of yourself as small. In my case, it has been said to me that I was nothing. So here I am, my entire structure is built on the presumption or assumption that I'm nothing. So that's my identity. Right. And all of a sudden, I am experiencing, and I don't mean it's a thought, it's an embodiment. You feel it. You're experiencing this bigness. Your ego is terrified because all of a sudden what it always thought it was, it's being shattered, right? But remember, being small is a safety mechanism. Yes. When I first realized, this was about 6 years ago, when I first became aware, consciously aware, that I have always held myself back for the purpose of making others feel more comfortable, it was one of the most saddest moments in my life. This wasn't conscious. Yeah, I know you can resonate with that. This wasn't conscious, but that's what we do. Yeah. And we do that to stay safe, to belong, to be accepted, because there is safety in acceptance. Yeah. Right? So what do? We not only fold our wings, we clip our wings. Obviously, that's a metaphor.
Yeah.
What happens when you clip your wings? You can't fly.
Nope.
Right?
Right.
It's like being a bird, but not being able to fly. That must be very sad, because your entire existence of being a bird is, right?
Right.
So I don't know how we ended up on this topic, but that's what I wanted to share with you. So when I first experienced,
and I just want to say real quick, like, how do we get out of that? It's just by, staying connected to people like you, people like me, watching, like for me, I like to watch a lot of YouTube videos in the mornings, the people who resonate well with me. And like, eventually, like, you're going to be like, you know what? I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to stop feeling like this, and I'm ready to move forward. And I'm going to need a lot of support through, what I listen to and what I'm listening to on the radio and who I'm hanging out with, and, and go in more. And it's an amazing thing, you guys. So please, 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 like when that time comes, it's going to come to you probably soon. If it hasn't already, if it has, I commend you. So I just felt the calling to share that, like, do the work. It's amazing. And like I said, we're here, this is a beautiful community, and just stay focused in that.
It's all about addressing one's core beliefs that are limiting, because we have beliefs that are not limiting. Keep those. Those are wonderful. Build on those.
Right.
But being a human is by the virtue of what it is, a limited experience. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But even within the limitations of being a human being, there's vast room for so much more, for our expression to be so much more, right? Yeah. So it's I always say it is an inside job. It's an inside job. No one can. I used to think, if I could only take this course, take this pill, do this meditation, have this psychic, I'll be fine.
It's an inside job.
That's not how it works. Can I change you? I cannot change you.
Yeah.
You can change you. I can't change you. If you change, that's because you want to, not because I tell you to. Yeah. Right?
Right.
So,
right.
And chances are, if people are listening to you right now, then they're drawn to this information for a reason. So it's just a matter of time.
Beautiful. Yes. You have also helped me to listen to that voice. And I know, a lot of your videos, you have a strong connection with, would you call it a spirit, or tell me about this relationship that you have whenever you get, a message to speak to you. It's helped me, and I'm like, oh, okay. And it's like, I'm like, okay, listen to that voice, because it's real.
So this is, the way I'm going to answer it is going to be in few parts. I used to think of this voice as my guides, because that is what I was introduced to. You have your guides, you have your intuition. So when somebody's talking to you, it's your guides.
Right.
As I have opened up and, let's use the word, evolved a little bit, I began to understand that I don't need a middleman. Nobody needs a middleman, because we are connected 24/7 to this thing called all that is. So although there are beings that are helping me, most of the time, what I listen to or what I hear is it's the universal voice. So I'm going to give you, here's how I'm going to present it. The first time I heard this universal voice was about 3 or so years ago, fairly recent.
Wow.
And it was telling me stuff about how the mind works, because that's my passion, right? And I finally said, who am I talking to? And this is what the voice said: I shit you not. Consciousness itself, though some call it God. And I went, okay, I've lost my mind. And whenever it speaks to me, it is with words. It's very precise, but so powerful. And I call it, even though I'm not a religious person, and even saying it still creates some issues inside of me, I call it the voice of God. Though I don't mean it in a religious way. Though there's nothing wrong with a religion, it's just for me, it just creates internal conflict for various reasons.
Right.
And if you really think about it, we are all part of consciousness itself.
Yeah.
Which means we are all part of it. Just because we are wearing a suit doesn't mean all of a sudden that we are cut off from it. Right. It simply means that we are limited in our awareness because of our human mind. But it doesn't mean we're not connected. So the mere remembering that we are always connected to all that is brings back the ability to communicate with all that is. Call it universal love, call it God, call it consciousness, call it source. You can call it a giraffe if you want. It doesn't matter. As long as, because that is the colossal truth, if you will. We're always connected to it 24/7. There's not a moment where we're not connected to it, because we are of it. We are part of it right now, and we're all connected.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
wow.
Does that answer the question a little bit?
No, it 100% does. Thank you so much. And it's beautiful how powerfully you hear that, on a daily basis. That is awesome.
And the universe speaks not only with sounds and voices and words, because with me personally, and I believe it's the case for most from what I'm sensing, words are very limited, they're very cumbersome, they're actually very ineffective if you really think about it. And we humans use words not very effectively, if you really think about it. We're not very precise with our words. But the way the universe communicates is through symbolism. Everything is symbolic if you look at life. I mean, this is a phone, but it's a phone because I believe it's a phone. If an alien came from a different planet, it would say, "What is that?" You wouldn't know what it is. And then I would say, "We call this a phone." Right? It's a symbol.
Beautiful case.
Oh, thank you. I believe Carl Jung spoke of the world, the symbolism and everything being symbolic. But anyway, so the universe communicates through synchronicities, signs, somebody else, different, something you see on the side of a train or a bus, a song you hear. I mean, there is literally a gazillion different ways the universe communicates with us, but we have to be open.
Yes. I was just watching this thing on a video on Instagram, and it's like signs, you're, awakening, connecting to your inner self more and more to source is like you see a lot of the same numbers, or 111,
Yes.
2222 when you're driving. Does that happen a lot with you as well?
100%.
Yeah.
They're actually saying to me, because there is a tendency to want to make something that it's not. Because a very intellectual person will say, well, what if it's nothing and I want to believe it's something? So what I'm sensing here to say is, if you're first of all, when you see a sign and it's a knowing, then you already know. If you have to question it and you're not sure, then that's because your intellect is having difficult time assessing, is it true, is it not true? In that case, I always say, leave it aside and say, okay, universe, show me more. And the universe will always show you more. So practicing asking the universe to show signs becomes very, very helpful, because eventually it's right in your face. And when it's right in your face, you still have a choice to say, no, I don't believe what I'm looking at. It's a choice.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. But eventually it's unmistakable. So learning how to communicate with the universe becomes very, very helpful.
Yes, 100%. I remember when I was younger, it had been in like freshman year in high school, ninth grade. And, I kept seeing like the color orange everywhere.
Yeah.
And like, even if like, orange represents something completely different, whatever you're going through in that moment, if it's representing something to you, like, go with that. Because I remember I'd always see like the color orange when I would have a breakthrough. Like I would have a really intense breakthrough thought, like, okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
real, that's truth, just me constantly thinking. And like I would randomly find, like one time I remember years ago, I found a beautiful ring. It was like this like netted type of cloth type of beautiful colorful ring that was so um I've never seen it in my life. And then I went the same day, later on in that evening, I went to like Ross and saw the same exact one, just one. And then earlier was one, like a pair, after a strong thought as well, like connecting to the universe type of
Mm-hmm.
conclusion download. And so those are just such beautiful feelings. And like I said, yeah, the color orange, I would see it all the time whenever I would feel peaceful, whenever I would just be like, oh yes, love, and I think the Buddhas wear orange all the time. So I'm like, okay, like there's
Oh,
like a,
that's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
a connection there. So whatever you are feeling, just go with that. If it's that feeling. And like you said, if you're still like not understanding, just ask the universe, send me more of a message. And when you're doing that, you're opening up your subconscious, your conscious, you're opening, all of you is opening up, and you will get that message for sure.
I
Even
love what you're saying, because what you're underlining here is that, see, for example, color orange for me would be a different symbol. So the universe has its own vocabulary with you. And it's learning and trusting it that becomes, I feel, the biggest piece of this work. It's trusting what you receive, because once you start trusting what you receive, then it becomes fairly easy. I mean, inner work is never easy, but it becomes a lot easier, right?
Yeah,
so even when I sit with a client, for example, now the way they communicate with me, it's like symbols, feelings, numbers, and I know for me personally what each of those things means. But to you, the same things would be something very different. So it's about recognizing what your vocabulary specifically is with the universe.
yes.
It's you know what it is? It's literally creating relationship with the universe. Just like when you have a relationship with somebody else, you have a different way of communicating with them in your own special time than you do with other people, right? This is no different.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what they're saying. It's to cultivate, first of all, your relationship with you, because the inner you has relationship with source. So by cultivating relationship with you, you're cultivating relationship with source. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you. That was beautiful. So I recently got into breath work, and I know you're
yes
as well. And I lead guided meditations and breathwork classes, in person. And I know you're getting into that as well. So if you want to share, what you know about breathwork, that would be awesome. For me, it literally just has been helping me unblock blockages. I get downloads, I get these, messages, and it has been life-changing. So which is, causing me to want to share that with the world. So, what can you share with people about, the breath work that you're doing and getting yourself into?
So this is I'm at the very beginning of the breathwork journey, and just in the last literally few months, they said to me, breathwork is going to take you to the next level. I'm okay, sign me up. So guess what happened? Out of the blue, I was introduced to a breathwork healer. Oh, thank you, universe. Thank you for looking after me. This is how it works. This is when you're open and you listen, This is how it works.
Mm.
Coincidence,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Coincidence. So he's helping me. He's teaching me breath work, but I'm at the very beginning of this journey. However, I've had a few sessions 2 years ago before the pandemic started. And I remember my very first session when my hands got all tied up and, you know, your body starts to contort because all these emotions are locking up and you're like, what the hell is happening here? But I remember I let out this primal
Oof.
sound that felt ancient. And it was lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of emotional pain.
Oh.
I literally was watching myself doing this thing and I'm going, oh shit, this doesn't sound very good. It was like a sound I've never made before. And they're saying to me that was necessary in order for my Kundalini to become awakened. So Kundalini is the primal force.
Yeah.
When we are bogged down with SHIT, the force cannot flow, right?
Yeah.
And Shakti, I believe, is the term in Sanskrit, right? So sounds like breath work is very, yes, I'm getting a nod on that. Breath work is very helpful in helping one. So they're saying our frequency in terms of our power is for the most part very constricted.
Yeah.
Breath work allows the constriction to dissipate because it releases whatever the constriction is.
Yeah.
So they're just showing me this. And I'm trusting they're correct. So the conclusion is that breath work allows one to become more in tune with their internal power. And we keep our power down. We do it. We do it. We may say, you keep my power down. No. We do it. We may do it because we're afraid, but we do it. And we do it for many reasons, predominantly for safety. Right?
Yeah.
So it sounds like breath work is, this is written about, it's about releasing emotional blockages, which is trauma.
Yeah.
A lot of it is trauma, right? And it's not just from this lifetime, it's many other lifetimes, whether people believe it or not. But it's stored in our cells, it's stored in our bodies. Speaking of, and this is mostly unconscious, we're not even aware of that. I had a massage the other day. It's called osteopathy massage. And something just drew. Again, this lady appeared out of the blue in my awareness. It's like, okay, I guess I have to see her. And I had this massage and she was releasing trauma I wasn't even aware I had. And one of the things that came up was that I was terrified of dying alone, which is fairly standard. I think I deal with clients with this all the time, but I didn't realize I had that alone. Oh, wow. So that was one thing. The other one was I was terrified of being judged for being insane. And I thought to myself, no wonder I hold myself back. Because if that was the fear that was driving my inner conflict, I don't want to be thought of as being insane, because if I'm thought of as being insane, chances are I'm going to be rejected. And guess what? I don't want to die alone. So when it was coming out, I thought, oh my God, it makes so much sense why I hold myself back and I restrict myself in terms of what I allow to flow through me, right? So that's not breath work, but it's similar. It's allowing the body to release because it's stored in our cells. But that's what breath work does. So I'm so glad you're getting onto it.
100%. Yeah.
It's hard work though, isn't
it? It is work. It is work. And it's amazing work and it's worth it. And it also helps lower, like high blood pressure and like all these things. And yeah, you're right. It's like all of that we carry in our body, the tightness, the blockages, everything. I carry a lot of energy on my back. I have knots. I have knot that I've had for years. I could feel it when I'm even reading a book. So working with the body is like key. And so, yeah, I would love to, offer to whoever this resonates to, a free guided meditation, breath work via Zoom. You could totally follow me on Instagram, Christine Beyond with a K, Kristine, and Beyond. My last name's Beyondalillo. So, my brother and I go by Beyond, and it's just something that always, spoke to me. And so I would love to offer that. A lot of my breath work events are around the full moon. And a lot of people are like, oh, do you do any virtual? Do you do any virtual? And I'm like, no, but maybe I should. And so recently I had a virtual guided meditation via Zoom, which was amazing. So I would love to offer that to anybody. It could be totally 100% for free. Just follow me, message me, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am going to be, this is the birth of so much for me. I'm going to be creating more content on my YouTube channel for, speaking to people like you, and even, speaking by myself about the things I'm going through, the things I'm learning in life, and sharing that with everyone, because we're all connected. If I'm going through it, you're going through it in a different way, right? And so I want to offer that to anybody.
I'm just looking something up because I'm going to throw something at you. Sorry.
Yeah, and I want to also.
I'm just looking up where the next full moon is.
Oh, yeah.
You probably know. Do you know?
I actually don't know. I think it might be on the 22nd. But I also wanted to share, Joanna, what you have, because I know you do coaching calls as well, or stuff like that. So I would love for you to talk about what you do as well, for the people.
I would love that. Yes. So from calling myself a medium and even a healer to more of a self-mastery coach, because really, whether I did mediumship or hypnotherapy or healing, it's really all about knowing yourself. So I work with people who are, for the most part, ready to take their life to the next level. And I always say, if you're drawn to this energy, not Joanna, but whatever energy that I work with, hold on to your rails. Because it is very profound. It's very powerful, but it is work. And I always say, as a healer, I don't heal you. You heal you. I guide you in a certain direction, and I help you see things that you cannot see. Yes, there's an energy component where I send energy, and that helps, absolutely. But the majority of the work is done by you as a client. So right now I'm offering two types of services. One is the Transformational Coaching, which is really, are you ready to transform your life? Okay, let's do it. And the other one is a Mediumship Session, which is more general. And this is for the most part where I will get information from my team, the universe, sometimes the person's loved ones, and I will be given information, generally what's happening with the person right now. Could be what's maybe happening, but I don't focus on predictions, because here's what I say. Your greatest predictor is you looking at your own truth, because your truth will tell you what your future is going to be. So rather than looking for predictions, I always try to shift the focus of helping person realize, why are they where they're at now? Why are they attracting what they're attracting? And why are they not attracting what they want to attract? And looking at themselves as a magnet and identifying that as a magnet, they bring in things, they magnetize things into themselves. And based on what magnet they are, they will magnetize A, B, C, or D. So that is the focus. So that's pretty much what I do. But going back to you, because I'm going to put you on a spot here. They're asking me to.
Yes.
Now the world is virtual. And part of the pandemic, it has made that possible. which is not a bad thing because that means you can reach a lot more people than you can in person.
Yeah.
So why don't you do on the next 20th of September, full moon, a virtual meditation ceremony?
Okay. Let me share really quick. When you were talking, I was like, why don't I give them a date? And like 5 minutes ago, I put,
there you go. That's what I have here. I love these confirmations. So thank
that
you.
was amazing. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
So just to make sure that's what you're doing, on the 20th, you're going to do your perfect, because that's, it's going to put, I hope I'm not putting on a spot, but.
No, I was just looking at the calendar that's on a Monday. So the 20th, the 20th on a Monday, and we can do, what time? I'm feeling like maybe in the evening, maybe
7 p.m.
7. Yes, I was going to say 7. And then I ended up saying 6 p.m.
Always go with your first one.
Right.
7 p.m. Yeah.
Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, the 20th. I would love to hold space for you all. I would love to lead a beautiful guided meditation. We could do a, short breath work just to tap into our breathing, tap into our body. And, I have my beautiful sound bowl. I have some beautiful sound instruments. So I would love for you to be a part of that. And thank you, Joanna, for affirming that. That means the world to me. Just
you're welcome.
Yes. And
will you do it through YouTube? Is that how you'll do it, or Instagram?
I can't do it on YouTube yet, because I think you have to have like so many subscribers and to like go live and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I could do it via Instagram, if you are feeling that via Instagram, or even just on a Zoom call. But I'm feeling Instagram maybe.
Instagram Live is what I'm getting. Yeah. By the way, your two eyes are different color.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm seeing this eye, so that would be your right, is a little bit lighter than your left eye. It's how I'm seeing it. But then maybe that's just me.
That is beautiful. I'm like wearing black eyeliner too. So whenever I wear like eyeliner, my eyes turn kind of like greenish. Yeah, like green, or maybe with some yellow as well. So I love when people like compliment my eyes, because like they've always been brown, but in the sun they're like hazel. I'm like, oh yay, if you're noticing eyes.
So we've got a date, 20th. Awesome. Instagram Live. Everybody, remember, 7 p.m.
Christine Beyond. I love you guys. That's going to be amazing, and can't wait to have you. And maybe I could bring on some people, and you could share your experience after and all that beautiful stuff. We're a community. We're all
awesome
there. And love you all. Thank you so much, Joanna, for this beautiful experience, and for sharing your truth, and for being for helping people. And like I said, like how you've helped me. And I, when you say things like, I have fear too, and all these things, it's like, man, we literally, there's so much beauty in just overcoming that, and just speaking love and speaking truth. And I'm going to continue to wake up and listen to you, because you're such an inspiration. And
thank you. Thank you.
Everybody. Aho, Waheguru, Satnam. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. One love.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.